He put up his own money to help, these African-American guys achieve their dream. Along, he bought some other, investors and buddies in there. And so they can achieve history. And it was done. So, again, you see how all these moving parts, all these different people came together to achieve a goal. And so, yeah, it was done. So, this guy, that's what they did. As you see in our article, they became the first Black-owned member firm on the New York Stock Exchange. And then, he also did some other great things. So y'all get the chime. Make sure y'all check out the article. It's on the website. So yeah, it's on there. So make sure y'all check it out. Anyhow, I love the story. So I just had to go and, on a whim about it. So with that being said, let's get that out of the way here. All right. So stock market is in its 9-week bull. Okay. 9-week bull run. As you guys see from, let me pull up. From those December lows to now, you see that 18% return. And this is the S&P 500. As y'all know, I like to start off with the S&P 500. That's a good barometer for, the health of the market. All right. And so the market has been plowing through upper head resistance levels. OK, as you guys can see. Here we go. All right. From those December lows, all the overhead resistance, test it, punch through, reject it, back to the mean, come through, punch through. So now it's above. Okay. So this here, starting the year, we're in a bull run. And this is a really, really strong bull run. In fact, this is the strongest bull run since 1995. This is really how you go from this to that in a matter of 2 months. Like that's remarkable. So it's a remarkable rebound here for the markets. And I think it's just a testament of how strong the U.S. economy is. It really is. So you shake out all the weak money. Those asset prices were inflated super high. Big boys say, hey, man, it's too expensive. Bring them prices down. Your price is way too high. You need to cut it. You know the song? Yeah. So anyway, I think about it in the markets. It's too high, man. You got to cut it, man. Get stuff down so we can buy it back. You push the prices down low, buy it back up, do the run up, right? So that's where we at. All right. Now we do have some overhead resistance up above, but what I do like is that our moving averages, the 9, right, the 200, the 100, the 50, the 29, the 20, all of those are, pretty much we're looking at the price action is above that. So that's how you know that the markets are bullish. Okay. So the markets is bullish, but they're extended. And so this kind of reminds me of 2017. If you were in the markets, it was a little harder. In 2018, we got all the, the crazy flow, right? Ups and downs. 2017, it was just like, woof. But they were extended. The asset prices were overextended, right? But people were still buying it anyway. So it's kind of like, well, geez, okay, it was making it a little difficult buying at these tops. You say, hey, I know I'm at a top. Do I want to buy here? Well, the theme started getting cracked down to the point where you say, hey, I don't want to be the one to short here, right? So anyhow, that was interesting. When you look at these charts today, how it's flowing, all of this is actually better than 2017, the gains that we had. And so anyhow, if you're looking at our stochastics down here, the out of bounds levels are here. Anytime we're above this level, that means that the markets is overbought, right? So whatever this that we're looking at is overbought. And it's been an extended overbought session for quite some time now, right? And yeah, we caught some sell-off triggers, but still not enough, sell off and then it comes back, right? And then it comes back. So we're still there. Key thing to focus on this week is our 786 retracement here on the Fibonacci. All right. Now the market likes whole numbers. And so I believe that the market is rushing towards 2,800. We're looking at the 2,800 mark, which is close enough. We're at 2,813. Fibonacci is coming in around 2,813. So 2,800 is close enough. The way the indexes move, they move big numbers. And so anyhow, as you see here is the first time that we tested the 786 retracement. Boom. We tested it again. Almost tested, didn't even get quite there. And so anyhow, anytime we see a stock that moves like that, when it come down, bounce off that floor, it gets rejected, come back, bounce, come back, right? And so we know that that's a key level to keep our eyes on, right? We're up at that level again. So Again, I believe that the markets are going to push further upwards. We got most of the overhead out the way. We had a pretty strong week last week, as you guys know, as we talked about earlier, it's been a bullish week. But we got the government shutdown stuff out of the way. The only thing that's looming up ahead is going to be March 1st, this Friday, trade deadline with China. Okay. So as you guys already know, U.S. economy is the strongest in the whole world, basically. OK, everybody else is struggling. You even got a recession over in Italy. OK, China, this whole beef with Trump and Z, U.S. got the upper hand. And Trump is basically using muscle to muscle them into submission so that the U.S. can have their way, basically. And he already knows that the U.S. economy can withstand this stuff. And that's why he's moving the way he's moving, him and Mike Pence and them. Interesting topic has been about the Chinese company Huawei. Have you guys been following on the company Huawei? Huawei, the Chinese company, like, one of the biggest ones. And so there's a push for 5G. So you guys know Verizon released 5G last year. It's a big thing coming from, 4G to 5G. 5G is the future. 5G is going to change business. It's going to help corporations to really, maximize technology. So it's a really big thing. It's not in consumers' hands yet, but you guys know, if you've seen Samsung's tech showcase with their new phones and everything, that's one of the things they're talking about. They're releasing 5G phones later part of this year. So I believe after second or maybe third quarter of this year, the 5G will be in consumers' hands. So companies got it now. That 5G is basically better than Wi-Fi. Okay, it makes that much of a difference. That speed is really going to help out with the artificial intelligence also. So you got cloud, artificial intelligence, everything that's going to be happening in the future is taking place right now. And so that 5G is very important. Now, the Chinese companies, if you've been doing any study and research, the Chinese companies have been stealing a lot of U.S. companies' technology. Okay. They've been doing a lot of stealing stuff. And it's been one of those things that they haven't been able to control. And they've been beefing about it for the longest. And in China, see over here, in the U.S., you see the iPhone or freaking Samsung, basically. You see in China, those people, they're not using iPhones over there. They're using Huawei, which is the biggest one. And I think Xiaomi, like these other phone companies, they got like the same stuff you got in your iPhone, but for much cheaper. And so anyhow, what is happening, what is developing right now is the race for 5G. So all these tech companies, if you guys know, if you look at the markets, all the boom for these past years, let me go back on a weekly here. All the boom has been coming. All the new money has been coming from our tech companies. All right. Let me just move that out of here. All right. So, yeah, I mean, you're seeing all of this boom. It's coming from tech. All right. That's all coming from these tech companies. Other companies doing it too, but tech companies have been leading. OK, technology is allowing corporations to be able to maximize their profits and make it more efficient than ever. All right. So it's very important, because as we get into this new, this new world, when we got, quantum computing now, we got artificial intelligence, which even Samsung with their new phones got artificial intelligence built into it. This is going to be the thing. So 5G, the race for that is very important. Whoever leads that is going to be leading, leading companies, leading the money. OK. All right. So it's all about the money at the end of the day. Remember, all about the money. So you got to think in terms of a capitalist. All right. And so with that being said, you have, the U.S. beef with China. U.S. don't want China to get their hands on that technology. They don't want them to be leading in that technology. And so you have Mike Pence and I think Secretary Pompeo. They're making a push to, prevent other countries from doing business with this company called Huawei. And y'all remember from last year, we talked about the daughter who runs the company. Her father is like really big deal in China, and her daughter was arrested. So U.S. had Canada to detain her for whatever reason. I can't even remember. You guys can remember the story. Go back. But that's, part of the beef with between China and the U.S. OK, so that's one of the downside things about if you think about any developments that are negative in that could impact, our relationship with China, which can make trade deals and things like that really difficult, because in a deal, when you're making a deal, it's never a one-sided thing. It's always two parties. One party needs to get what they want out of the deal. The other party needs to get what they want out of the deal. And there has to be some kind of compromise, or there's no deal. So I believe that in these deals that, this is some of the things that, that's why I think it's going to be difficult for them to even, to make this deal. And I believe that they're probably not even going to be able to make the deal by deadline, which is this Friday. We'll see, how it goes. But trade deal again, March 1st, this Friday. Don't really know if, I don't think we'll get it. Trump is already hinting about some kind of extension. He's already kind of talking about. So I think he's dropping clues that, hey, they're not ready to seal the deal. He said that he would delay new tariffs. See, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like, how they gonna play this thing out? If he's gonna, delay, then I don't know how the market's gonna feel about that. And I think that for the most part, we may see a bullish week. And it's crazy how the news headlines are pushed all the way up into our technical levels, and then it just makes it happen, right? So you may see the markets push up, and then Thursday time frame you get a rejection somewhere, when we get to those levels. That's kind of the way it works. But anyhow, so you had U.S. trying to block, this company Huawei from getting their hands on this technology or developing it to hurt, the Chinese economy. I mean, this Chinese economy is really dependent on these companies to grow it. And they are in trouble with growth right now. That's why the world is slowing down. If you guys saw the last article that we did before the Black History Month, was about as the world slows, where we actually go into details about, the forecast across the globe, basically, or the world, as you call it, about how China is weighing negatively on the rest of the world. We call that emerging markets. A lot of European countries are facing a lot of turmoil, not just from China. You got Brexit, but China is really the big deal. A lot of companies got a lot of exposure over there. You get all your products made over there and everything. And so here comes Trump talking about America first and, nationalism. And so a lot of countries are not feeling that because they got exposures over in China. And it's like, man, you messing up the money, B. So anyhow, so that's where you got to pay attention to these developments. And this is how they impact us in the markets. And, we want to follow through with that. So that's going to be the big deal. So, and the reason why it's important, because again, if they don't make this deal, then the tariffs that he got on over, like, I think it's $200 billion of Chinese goods is going to go from 10%, which is current, and it's going to go up to like 20%, 25%. And that's a big deal. Okay. It's going to be a lot of people hurting if they get taxed at 25%. So, again, he's muscling them into submission so he can get some things that he wants. He probably makes some wins over in the farming side. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But the markets, Wall Street is going to be paying close attention. So this is, it's a major deal. But again, I don't think they're going to, be able to do it by this Friday. He's already talking about delaying it. And so I think it's going to get pushed back, further, and we'll see how the markets react towards that. Now, Brexit deadline is, I think, March 25th, the end of March. So the end of next month, you still got Brexit, too. So something that's interesting about the markets right now is that I'm seeing fear leave the market. So when fear is leaving the markets, you should probably be a little fearful. I don't know. It's just, that's when, you get comfortable and then they drop an anvil on your head. Right. And so, we'll see how it goes. When I'm looking at the technicals tell us that we're overbought. Right. Asset price is inflated, man. It's overbought. We're over these levels that, the price point, right? You wanted to get in, you should have got in here, right? That was a place to get in, all right? Because should have got in there. You should have got in here, right? So it's going to be, interesting once we get to these levels here, which I do believe we'll get here. So set your targets for about 2,800. Once we get to that levels, we want to pay attention to see how the market is going to behave. If you see any weakness, you see that it does not push through, it starts to stall, then you want to have some short plays, on standby so that you can actually enter on those shorts. Okay. It can't go on forever. That's one thing that we do know, right? We don't know everything, but we know that it can't go on forever, right? And so, but I do look for some positive action in the markets this week. So we'll start with, I guess, some positive stocks to look at. And we'll take a look at some negative stuff also. I don't really have much on my list here, but and I'll take some from you guys, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I know it's a little lengthy. We do have earnings this week, also, which was still, earnings. It's actually pretty light. You got Home Depot coming up on Tuesday. We have, who else we got? I know we got Home Depot. We have Best Buy. We have L Brands. These are names that you probably want to be looking for in the markets this week. We got Foot Locker on Friday. We got Nordstrom, and so we'll be looking at their earnings and see how they perform. Any weakness in those, then you may want to look on the short side to some of the the consumer stocks, basically consumer stocks. And so anyhow, we'll see how they pull off. What we got? Okay, so all right, so we talked about trade deal with China coming up this week. Oh, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking on Tuesday and Wednesday. So, any material you see from the markets, you'll be seeing, come from that as well. So besides earnings, you see Jay Powell speaking on Tuesday and Wednesday, giving an account to, their, rate hike pause. And that's another interesting thing too. So again, this is a little tricky market because we have the Fed's interference, as I would say, the Fed's interference, saving the markets from this calamity that we saw back here, right? So Wall Street sold off, punk out the Feds. Feds get punked out right about here. Say, hey, we're going to put a pause on interest rates. Markets back, making all this money. So it's kind of like the Feds, again, supporting the markets with that stance, which makes it interesting because we'll see what they're very limited on what they can do, anything in the future. So we'll see how this all plays out. But that's why we've been seeing all of this. So if you've been wanting to know why are we getting all this pushed through all these resistance levels, well, the money is, hey, the Feds is lighting up. So the regulators, the ultimate regulators, they're lighting up. So, we could do business. The cost of business isn't constantly going up as they were actually projecting, and they're looking at lightening up the balance sheet. And they might just end up reducing rates, which would be interesting if they do that. I'd be very cautious if the Fed start to reduce rates because I'd be wanting to know what's going on. What are they trying to run from now? All right. So anyway, keep your eyes on that type of development. So let me see. I really didn't see many names that I was really interested in because, again, it's still the beginning of the week and we'll see how the developments play out. I was interested in Verizon. So this is a pretty interesting setup here that we got on Verizon. As we see, the triangle wedging in there, and this is and it's almost like a double bottom too. If you take a look at it, that bottom, the double bottom pattern is that W, and so you'll normally see it go up like that. And so on the bull side of the spectrum, I would like to play Verizon to the bull side. Okay, it's got some low volatility in there as well. As you guys see, it's got some low volatility, and Verizon again is leading the pack for 5G. So can't keep them down for long, right? They're leading 5G. I think AT&T got some too, but theirs is not like real 5G. So anything networks, Verizon is going to be the best. All right. So looking in the communication sector, I did get a buy trigger here. You do have some overhead. Resistance. Oh yeah, you can't see it on Facebook. Yeah, Marcy, you got to join the private chat so you can see the whole picture. Excuse me. Sorry about that, fellas. Sorry about that, guys. I'll see if I can move my chart down so you can actually take a look at some of that a little better. So I'll pull it down like this. You can probably see it better now with the video feed not going in there. So anyhow, just to show you what I'm looking at. Okay, this is the bottom, the double bottom setup basically. All right. That work is okay. I know that's right. But yeah, so so anyhow, I like Verizon to the long side. And remember, if you guys subscribers, you get the playbacks anyway. Try to edit them as best as I can, and then we'll get them out to you. I know I was a little lengthy on this one as we had to talk about Black History Month, but I do like this one here to the long side. All right, so John Deere, this is an interesting one also. Now, this is an interesting one. Again, these levels, these are some old levels that I put on here, but they're still holding true. They're still holding true. And the thing that I find interesting about this one, it's going to be a little more riskier because, again, we're right here at this extension, and we see clearly it has not been able to push through this level. All right, this is a key level. So on the Fibonacci highlights it for us. Do have and it's at the earnings, right? So I mean, the earnings was not good. Okay, so this earnings, we got the downshoot here, oversold off. It hit that floor level, and now it's bouncing back. So we see it bounce off this floor. It's coming back. Now it's back up against that level. We got a buy trigger here. Now this is after earnings, so it's after the event. So I like them better when they're after the event. We got this trigger here after the event. Remember? Okay, on the stochastics level, we got some upwards momentum. The trend still isn't. This is a non-factor right now, but we do have a squeeze here. Okay, and it's not quite inflated like the other ones yet. So it had its last high here at that 168, and I believe that's what we're going to try to go to. We're going to try to get pushed through that level to try to make it up, to about 172 or so, right? So I just think that's where we're going to go. So anyhow, I like this one to the positive side. We'll see how it plays out. Perfect team Bears. Okay, AT&T gets sued for paying 5G on saying 5G. Yeah, say AT&T, they don't have like real 5G. I think they have like I think they're able to get something out faster to consumers, but it's not like the real deal. And Verizon, they're just better positioned than the rest. Anyhow, so I like those two to the upside. Now, Alibaba is going to be interesting. Again, this is a Chinese company. Big boy. This is one of those companies that China does depend on. They have broken through a lot of levels of resistance. Again, Baba is kind of like the Amazon of China. Okay, if you're somebody in business, and this is a good tip. Okay, so maybe nobody's ever told you, but you can shop at Baba if you have a business directly from the manufacturer, skipping out the middleman. Right, it's pretty dope. It's really dope. You get stuff dirt cheap. All right, because you're getting it straight from the manufacturers. You got to buy bulk, but you're getting a whole lot better than buying it, from somewhere else. Maybe you're buying it from Walmart or buying from Lowe's or Home Depot. I mean, this is where they're getting it from. So you're getting it from the source. Most of these manufacturers are in China. Okay. Anyhow, so their economy depends on this stock here. Now, this company has actually gone through its major levels of resistance here. And we see on these levels, it pierced through those levels. We recently just got this other push. Now, thinking about this whole trade deal with China thing, if you want to get some positive exposure, then this one here will be, good positive exposure. As you see that is, broke through that 200 moving average, which is a key level of resistance. I'll see if I can pull up my intraday charts. But that was a pretty cool double bottom pattern here on intraday chart. Still got some upside. I believe we're going to try to get to 180 on this one. So about to 180, boom, sell off, right? So get in, get out, get your money, right? Try to get around those levels. And it may even push even further if, situations, anything positive come from that China situation. Anyhow, I like that to the positive side. And let me give you something to look for on the negative side. Will be Baidu. Now, this is another big boy in China. Okay, so it's like, okay, let's take a look at the Chinese exposure. And the setups in here is pretty bearish, right? So let me see here. All right, so the earnings is already pass. Let's try to see if we can get an update here. There we go. So yeah, they had the earnings on the 21st. So it's 20. Okay, so good. So we don't have an event coming up. That's good. Always make sure you don't have live events coming up because those things make stuff move. So anyhow, so at the earnings, we do have the sell trigger off here. We got on the downtrend side some movement down. There's a squeeze forming here, and we see that the stochastics is starting to roll over here And so just taking a look at the technicals, you can see it starting to roll over a little bit. Now it's under its key levels of resistance. So again, this is a bearish, it's in a bearish zone. It did hit this floor here, and it's trying to make its way up. It come through the 618 on our Fibonacci level, rejected, came back up, rejecting. It doesn't look like it can clear that level. So any weakness here, I'll look at the short, this one, Baidu. So we'll see how it plays out. But that'll be for the weak side for Chinese exposure. All right. And let's take a look at one more. So this one right here looks weak also. We got key resistance levels. It's trading under those, trading under these. So it's a bearish, it's in a bearish pattern basically. And so we see it come up on that 618 retracement, and it's still, pouring downwards. It sits in the upper range, so it has some space to come down some more, so it's not oversold yet. We don't have a squeeze here, so that's a non-factor. The trend is going up, but this is a divergence. And so anyhow, this is where I look at some short exposure in here. We'll see how they go. So this is a video game stock, Activision Blizzard, gaming stock basically. I think they make a Call of Duty or something. Anyhow, that's what I see here. Upside, downside, coming out of the week. We'll see how the rest of it plays out. You guys have anything you want to look at before we bring it to a close? Gold. Gold is interesting because with the markets going up, it's weird because gold has been going up too. All right. So y'all remember last year around September time frame, we talked about gold. We talked about gold last year around September time frame, which we had made some pretty good moves in gold after they hit this low here and came up. Let's see, was it around September, I believe, October? Yeah. So anyway, was able to catch these moves here in gold. And gold, as you see, has been stepping forward every step of the way. So it's just nice step patterns that it has. It's cleared all these resistance levels. So gold is bullish, which is interesting because again, you see, you play equities, you play gold counter to equities, right? Gold is a flight to safety. So you say, the investors are pouring money in gold, then you got to pay attention to that because they're preparing for something bad in equities. Okay. All right, you guys still with me? Yeah, so anytime you see gold going up, that means investors are scared. So I can gauge fear. So even though the VIX is down super low, which is crazy, it's kind of like, you don't want to get in there without any knowledge that there's risk. Okay, so never look at it like it's risk free. It's always some kind of risk. You got to just know about how much risk there is. So I definitely want to keep my eyes on gold, even though, the price is, it's a little up, but it's been holding the mean. It's been coming down to the mean since here. It's been catching the mean, rises up, come back to the mean. And we see it start to lift off on the mean, coming back like this, then I'll go back long and I'll look for more shorts in the market. Okay. Like in oil and gas. Yeah. So again, I forgot to even mention about the oil and gas. Keep your eyes on that development for me, Ron, because again, the market's so huge, man. It's so hard for me to catch up with all this stuff. But oil has been going up. Check your gas prices at the local gas station, creeping up on you a little low. There's a situation down in Venezuela, and it's not. Let me see. All right. So that's oil here. Oil has been going up, as you guys see. had its December lows. It's been plowing through resistance levels, and it's above these levels here. And I think it's going to try to push back up here to the 200. Right? It's got some overhead resistance up along the way, so I don't think it's going to be just smooth. But that's another thing also to keep your brains on. The situation with Venezuela is this: they have two leaders who are basically presidents, and the U.S. not feeling one of the guys. I forgot his name. Was it Maduro or something like that? Anyhow, they want the guy to basically relinquish his power. Okay. And there's a guy that's pro-U.S. that they want him to be the leader. I guess he's been, I don't know how it works, but I think Maduro was a dictator, right? And so anyhow, kind of like the same Saddam Hussein and all this other stuff, it's kind of the same thing here. The U.S., I guess the country's recognizing this other guy who's like pro-U.S. as a leader, but the other guy, Maduro, he's still like leading in charge. Yeah, Russia backs him. So anyhow, Russia backs him. U.S. is trying to back the new guy, but they're in a state of basic confusion. Like, who's going to be the president? You got two presidents basically, and so the U.S. is basically telling him, "Hey, you got to back off, dude. If you don't back off, then it's going to get real, basically." And I believe Trump, military barely with Maduro still. Yeah, so yeah, Maduro still got the military, but I know Trump said some words to him. About you need to back off, or when they say or, it's kind of like, okay, there could be a war. I don't think they're trying to scare people, but I mean, U.S. probably go down there and handle the situation where they overthrow the dude. They already had Europe to stop him from getting his gold. He was trying to take his gold from the European banks. U.S. them made some calls. They called people up. He can't get the gold or whatever now. And he's actually personally said that Trump has hired assassins from Colombia to kill him. So again, man, like this is, hey, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but some stuff is just actually that's what's really happening. And so if you want to go down that rabbit hole, take a look at it. It's a very interesting thing. I think that it does pay attention, but my hands be so full, I can't just jump into everything. You guys do the research. Y'all come back and let me know what you find out. But he has said that Trump has hired assassins from Colombia to kill him. He's afraid for his life. This is what the Maduro guy has said. I don't really know, but that's what he's saying. And yeah, so anyway, stuff is getting real nasty down there. They got a lot of oil down there. And so, with all of this going down there with the sanctions and stuff. Right. That's right. So the sanctions down there, anyway, it's just, really negative impact in that country. And it's a big thing. So anyhow, we're seeing, oil prices go up from that conflict down there as well. So I still like oil to the upside. I mean, again, the prices are, a little inflated, they're a little overbought, if we're looking at the stochastics, but I think there's still some plays in there. Normally, if you're looking at the oil, you want to look at like maybe Hess or EOG. So let me see. Oh, no, I don't even like this one. This one is looking EOG. This is a good one for oil stocks, but it is showing us a double top pattern kind of. So anyhow, see how that plays out. They got earnings coming up on the 26th. So that'll be this week. So, you want to make, see how they do for earnings. EOG, anytime I play oil stocks, these are the ones I normally play is EOG or Hess, right? Okay. And this looks a lot better than the EOG one, right? It's got, it does have some, again, upper head resistance. If you play it to the long side, you want to be out when you get to those levels, right? Momentum is starting to drop off. Again, it's still overbought. We'll see how it plays. Once it catch up to these levels, if that whole sector shows weakness and start to drop off, then that's your point to short. But you can ride it into that level. So that's what I would be looking at. What else y'all want to look at? XLV. XLV is healthcare. T-Dilla healthcare. Healthcare has been a little weak, but I think there's some plays. Let me take a look at BK real quick. All right. So cool. I like this one to the long side. You guys can probably clearly see, your pennant there. Boom. All right. And then you get that that step pattern like that. So that's where you see that. We do have buy triggers here, right? We got some, and the faster part of the stochastics is going up. We got the trend going up, and we do have a squeeze on there also. So yeah, I do like this to the upside. Let me get my targets together real quick. They play it like this. It's probably not much movement on this one here. If you're taking a look at how long it's taking, how far it's taking the Fibonacci's to get to the levels that we need. Let's look at the options chain. So yeah, I mean, it's got a good setup, but you're kind of skimpy on premium. Kind of skimpy on premium here. Now, something that's interesting is that sticks out to me. This 50. They got $2 price movement in there, so about 54, 55, so 50. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So you got about $2 of price movement to the upside here for those contracts. But again, open interest is real skimpy. You don't really have nothing to work with except for those numbers here. But that 50 does stick out like a sore thumb, so I want to know what's going on with this 50. Yeah. The chart itself looks good, but not much premium on there unless you're playing it, again, still not much premiums. You have to worry about liquidity or trying to get out. What else? Yeah, it'd be a day trade. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, play it to the day trade, again, it doesn't really move much though. So you still, pay attention to that. Doesn't have much volatility in it. You really get the best bang for your buck. Again, you take on more risk. This doesn't have much risk to the upside or downside because it doesn't move that much. You're talking about $2 in movement is the expected range on this one. But yeah, of course you can make money there. And you and I, Wes, we talk, so I know what your targets are. You can hit that. You're good to go. It is a bullish setup. It's a bullish pattern. That's why I like to look at it. Keep your eyes on that 50 though. Something was going on there. Somebody bought a lot of contracts, a lot of interest on that $50 contract. We'll take a look at 50 is down here at our support levels here. That's 50 level. So that's your risk to the downside, your reward to the upside. Okay. Boom. Get in there and get out. All right. If it comes back down here, then that's cool. This will be a good point to enter back in, right? If that becomes the floor. All right. Yeah. Utilities have been going up also. Utilities, again, that's it's more flight to safety. When equities, we're talking to stocks, investors not, filling stocks, utilities is where they go into. So utilities is clearly bullish, which is interesting because we see equities going up, but we see utilities going up at the same time, and that's a bit of a divergence. And so, yeah, it makes the markets a little trickier to time and to project what is going to happen when we see these things going up together. What we do know is that this is also extended. So something got to give. It's either equities got to give or gold, bonds, utilities. Something has to give. I don't know which one's going to be, but something's going to happen. And I think we'll be able to, see what's going to happen this week, and I think a lot of it has just been from this trade stuff, and they're going to push it. Yeah, everybody is hedging the economy. I mean, you better, you see the VIX is lightening up, but you see people racking up on stocks. And again, I think it's just them pushing it up. It's inflated, the moves that it's made better than the whole year 2017 all in 2 months. That's just crazy. That's crazy. It can't go on like that forever. Ride the bull. That's right. Ride the bull up into those extensions, to those levels, get out when you can. But yeah, U.S. economy strong. Again, that's the theme, but the rest of the world is not. And so that's an issue that will bleed. It will bleed over into the U.S. markets as well. And I think that the Feds are, trying to go ahead and react towards it now. That's why they stopped with the interest rates. and everything else, that they got going on. So Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll see investors talking more about, the Fed's notes. Jay Powell got to give testimony on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so we'll see what's going on there. But anyhow, I guess that's going to conclude our game plan Sunday. I hope that gave you guys a little bit of framework. Bull ride is still going. The markets are bullish, but we're extended. We're overbought. Prices are inflated. So tread carefully. Don't load up a whole bunch of contracts. Trade ones or twos. When the risk is higher, you want to lighten your load up, just in case, when that time happens, when we get that rejection, you know what's going on and you don't have much at risk. So, don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but, just still got to caution you that we have risk that lies up ahead. These things can't go up forever. All right. So anyhow, appreciate you guys joining, and catch you guys through the